Estados Unidos y Reino Unido consideran que el ataque aéreo contra los hutíes en Yemen tiene como objetivo desescalar las tensiones y restaurar la estabilidad en el Mar Rojo, en clara y directa alusión de los ataques de esta milicia proiraní contra esa estratégica zona de esta región desde el inicio de la guerra entre Israel y el grupo islamista Hamas en la Franja de Gaza el pasado 7 de octubre. El primer ataque durante la presidencia de Joe Biden tiene como objetivo no solo apoyar a su aliado principal en la región, Israel, que es el blanco de los ataques de los hutíes, sino sobre todo también estabilizar y proteger esa zona, una zona crítica básica, y es que el Mandelbab es la entrada del Mar Rojo, por donde pasa más del 10% del tráfico de mercancías del comercio marítimo mundial. Yemen, más en concreto los hutíes, han reaccionado prometiendo una venganza y también con una exhibición de fuerza en las calles de la capital, Sana, con miles y miles de personas gritando contra Israel y contra Estados Unidos y pidiendo venganza por el ataque contra, según Estados Unidos, más de 60 objetivos clave de los hutíes en Yemen. Irán, que ayuda y también financia a los hutíes, así como Hamas, Hezbollah, han condenado el ataque de Estados Unidos y Gran Bretaña, que por su parte han tenido el apoyo en el ataque de países como Australia, Países Bajos, Canadá y Bahrein. En ese momento la situación es muy tensa y prueba de ello es el nuevo ataque, en este caso fallido, de los hutíes este viernes contra un barco comercial en la zona del Mar Rojo. Asimismo, destacar que el jefe del Comité Revolucionario de los Hutíes en Yemen, Mohammed Ali al-Houthi, afirma que el ataque de Estados Unidos es terrorismo puro y pide también a los demás países que hagan lo posible para evitar dichos ataques. Eso sí, dice también que los hutíes van a seguir su posición de lanzar ataques contra barcos con vinculación israelí o contra Israel en señal de apoyo a Hamas ante la ofensiva en Gaza, que continúa hoy ya viernes, 98 días después del ataque de Hamas. Hoy, eso sí, ha acabado la audiencia en la Corte Internacional de Justicia, motivada por la denuncia de genocidio a cargo de Sudáfrica contra Israel, precisamente por dicha guerra. Si este jueves Sudáfrica afirmaba que Israel tiene intenciones genocidas en esta operación militar, aludiendo el número alto de víctimas civiles también y el número de miles y miles de casas destruidas, hoy ha sido el turno de Israel para afirmar que si alguien ha cometido genocidio ha sido Hamas en el ataque más grande de la historia de Israel, el 7 de octubre. Asimismo, acusa a Sudáfrica de ignorar el papel de Hamas también después del ataque, es decir, durante la ofensiva, al utilizar, según los representantes israelíes, a los civiles gazatíes como escudo defensivo para defenderse, protegerse y desde ahí, desde escuelas, mezquitas e incluso hospitales, lanzar ataques contra Israel. Para CNN, Salem Ergi, Jerusalén.
We're joined by Yaakov Katz, a senior Jerusalem Post columnist and a senior fellow at the Jewish People Policy Institute. Thank you so much for being here with us. So first, just to build on what we were hearing there, your reflections on the war, 100 days in, could it be another 100 days, do you think, before it ends?
It's hard to imagine and believe. The heart refuses almost to believe that it's been 100 days since these people were taken and since this massacre and the barbaric attack by Hamas took place inside Israeli communities and homes. It's unimaginable when we think about what these hostages have been going through, how there still are over 130 of them being held in some dark hole somewhere inside Gaza, men, women, children, the elderly, people who are wounded, who needed and still need medical care, and how Hamas continues to hold on to them and refuses to allow them to come back to their families. And can I imagine that this will take another 100 days? Unfortunately, the answer is yes, because we know, Kim, what Hamas does and how it operates and what it wants. It uses these hostages as a cynical tool to undermine and to pierce the heart of Israel every day, every hour. And we're marking today 100 days. But what I can only imagine what people are going through, the families of these hostages and their loved ones, is really horrifying.
Yeah, we're showing pictures of the hostage forum, signs up there saying bring them home. From some of our reporting, some of the hostages' families feel the war's two objectives are contradictory, destroying Hamas and getting the hostages back. Are they right on that?
To some extent, there is an inherent contradiction because the continued degrading of Hamas through the ground offensive, which has been going on now for about 80 days out of the last 100 days, is meant to degrade Hamas capabilities, to weaken it, and to prevent it from being able to carry out another October 7th style massacre again. And so far, the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, have been working very meticulously, but they're going from the north where they started. They're now in the central Gaza, as well as an area known as Khan Yunis in the south, where Israel believes the main Hamas leadership is holed up in one of those underground tunnel bunkers, possibly alongside many of those hostages. So the operation needs to continue. Now, through the operation, aerial bombardments, airstrikes, the ground offensive, taking out some of these targets, it could lead to the harming also of the hostages. Israeli intelligence doesn't necessarily know where all of these hostages are being held. And at the same time, Hamas is saying, and we don't know if we can believe them, that if Israel were to withdraw all its forces, it would be willing to engage in a swap that would see the release of the hostages. So there is what sometimes might look like a contradiction. On the other hand, I would just say, Kim, and this is what the IDF chief of staff says, is that the military pressure on the ground is what is pushing Hamas to maybe make a deal. So you can't have one without the other. They do have to come together. Ground offensive and a continued effort to get those hostages home.
Israel's Prime Minister is denouncing the genocide case in the International Court of Justice. South Africa accusing Israel of committing genocidal acts in Gaza. Israel calls those allegations grossly distorted and says its war is fought in self-defense despite the death toll. Mr. Netanyahu has said it is Hamas who wants to commit genocide.
The hypocritical attack in The Hague on the Jewish state that rose from the ashes of the Holocaust on behalf of those who came to perpetrate another Holocaust against the Jews is a moral low in the history of nations.
Meanwhile, Israeli War Cabinet member Benny Gantz thanked German Chancellor Olaf Scholz for supporting Israel's position. On Friday, the German government said it, quote, expressly rejects the allegations that Israel is committing genocide.